this morning?
So one of our lieutenants on Alpha Shift thankfully spotted a bunch of smoke coming from this business as he was passing by on Pyramidary Road. Obviously, the whole building, as you can see behind me, total loss, down to the bare bones where Ideals on Wheels. And obviously he got there, whole building on fire, firefighters responded. Once it was clear to go into the building, our deputies found that the place had been burglarized, that someone had broken in, stolen keys, and more so than that, had stolen at least 8 cars and then scattered them all throughout the county. So a very peculiar, odd act, and then basically proceeded to set this building behind me on fire. Obviously, you have investigators that are on scene right now, arson investigators from Anderson County Fire. They are primarily, obviously, over the fire element of this, but we also have a burglary element of this where the sheriff's office is stepping in. Our detectives have been on scene all morning long. Again, this fire started just a little bit after 4, so it's been a boots on the ground effort, basically combing through surveillance footage as well to make sure that we do have the right person of interest. There was a lot of work done by our detectives as well as our Special Investigations Division to pinpoint who this person of interest was. And then it was the surveillance footage from the surrounding area that did confirm that we did have the right person in custody. So as you can imagine, just a strange thing to do. Breaking into a building, stealing multiple cars, scattering them, and then setting a building on fire. And it has many people just wondering, what is the motive here? You know, we have somebody who the suspect is from Spartanburg County originally. So what brought him to Anderson? Those are things that right now I can say our detectives are meeting and working all together to try and get to the bottom of it. We do have one suspect in custody and he is being interviewed to try and get some of those answers as well, but he'll be facing multiple charges. Obviously you can see the proof is in the pudding behind me, malicious damage just being one of many, including there might be grand larceny as well for all those cars that were stolen.
And also kind of talk about the number of cars. I know earlier Carrie said around 5 or 6 or something like that.
Right, so deputies basically responded here because this is a busy road, well traveled, but then we started to find these cars scattered all throughout the county, and that's obviously when your red flag goes off. We knew that 8 cars at least were stolen, and thankfully deputies have managed to recover all 8 of those cars. So that's the good news. The second element of this is that it's only about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is very much still an active investigation. Detectives are making sure that they just cross their T's, dot their I's, and make sure are we sure that we have all the cars that have been stolen from this area.
And so Kevin saw 2 cars that were being taken from the church down here. I mean, just literally
in the church parking lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. It's kind of he stole them and put them in in broad daylight. Basically out in the open, not trying to really hide them in any way. And again, that's what raises the questions of why was this done to begin with. And so we're hoping to have a few of those answers. It's just obviously early in the investigation.
Right, and from your experience, when you look through cases and you see how things, turn out or pan out, with this, was there really any plan? I mean, I guess as you guys are looking now, obviously,
right.
Yeah, everybody's like, what the world, what was the reason for this?
Right.
Does it seem like there was a plan here?
I think that it is peculiar, the steps that were involved here. So obviously there's more to it. And that's what detectives, they are meeting in just a little bit to all come together and basically comb back through all the evidence that we have gathered this morning, whether it be from this business, working with firefighters as well, or even nearby businesses to see what we can find. But this is not just, confined to one crime scene. Because these cars are scattered all across the county, we have different spots to go to, and it's a matter of gathering all of that, putting it in one bucket and saying, hey, what do we have? And we know at the end of the day that we have multiple charges he's about 52 and from Spartanburg County, and we should be able to release his name and the official charges very shortly with a warrant in hand.
And understand that, sure. But I feel like people are going to want to know, did the suspect know the owner here? Was there anything,
Yeah. The suspect, and as far as the owner, we are still working through that to see if there is a relationship there or if this is just a random act. Unfortunately, random acts happen to very good businesses and very good people, and that's why we're thankful that our deputies, our detectives, they've all stepped in to help, and really, they've worked through this case very quickly. So we are grateful for their work, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of exactly what the motive was.
Do you know whether or not they found the suspect here in Anderson County, or was he back in Spartanburg?
No, he was in Anderson County. Thankfully, detectives, especially with our special investigation division as well, managed to find him, pinpoint him, and bring him into custody fairly quickly. And when you're left with this mess behind you, from just an average standpoint, it's like, where do you begin? And thankfully, our deputies acted very quickly to try and pinpoint who this suspect was.
Oh, well, actually, I have one more.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, I know that it's always been like a constant effort from county leaders to keep, business booming and all of this. But when something like this happens, that's so unfortunate. I guess from a humanity aspect, I guess what comes across your mind?
Well, we all are working hard for the money that goes into our pockets. We all are trying to make this community, this county better. And when something like this is inflicted on one of our businesses, it's heartbreaking. It is unfortunate. But what is fortunate about it is that when deputies see images like this, it motivates them to pick up the pace and say, we got to find who's behind this, and we have to do it quickly. And thankfully, they did that today.
Okay, all right. Thank you.